CNN is seething over Oliver Anthony's success. I'm not surprised at all. Oliver Anthony is killing it. First time in history that someone went from the nobody to being number one on the Hot 100. So congratulations to him. But let's check out a clip.
The anthem for the voiceless. That's the focus of tonight's angle.
Practically overnight, this is crazy. The singer's gone from unknown to #1 on the Billboard charts. And this is what happened. The unsigned artist breakout hit, it's called Rich Men North of Richmond, went
Good
viral
song,
online
too.
earlier this month. And
He
now
deserves
sitting
it.
in the top spot on the Billboard Hot 100. He's the first artist ever in history to reach that milestone with no prior history on the chart in any form whatsoever.
Well, an historic climb on the charts, that should be a wake-up call to these out-of-touch elites in politics, the entertainment industry, who frankly routinely write off or look down on half the country.
Cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. Lord, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me, people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
So weeks after we featured the song on The Angle, the Today Show finally caught up to the groundswell. Not with bias, but with bewilderment.
Conservatives have rallied behind the track. It calls out wealthy legislators in Washington, D.C. Some are describing it as raw and authentic. And although on his own YouTube channel he posted a video in which he labeled his political views, quote, dead center down the aisle, everybody is talking about this thing.
Well, they're talking all right, but it's not all nice. The venomous crew over at CNN is clearly seething over the breakout success of those establishing their own counterculture. Well, the left is so used to having monopoly, aren't they, in music and in film, theater, even sports, that they start to sputter and fume at any perceived encroachment by non-wokesters. Liberal commentator Oliver Darcy over at CNN described Americans as primed to loathe mainstream pop culture and the media, and that they are willing to open their pocketbooks to champion their politics. Well, that's true, but Darcy went on to warn that Anthony's success
Why shouldn't they?
could spell the end of a shared popular culture, similar to how the advent of right-wing talk radio and Fox News ultimately...
He thinks that's been the case for a long time. What are they, the wokeness? This guy, Oliver Darcy. It's crazy they employ that guy.
Spelled the end of a shared understanding of current events. Okay.
Yeah.
A shared understanding of current events. A shared popular culture.
That hasn't been the case in so long. It's like January 6th. Most people on the right are just like, okay, it got a lot out of control, but it was mainly just, it was a protest. Got a little out of control. The left are like, it's the worst thing since 9/11. It's like, come on, relax. So and that's been, there's been a shared view of current events in a long time, and he thinks this song, I guess it goes to show even further, and everyone should be appreciating this song. It's a good song. It's talking about like Epstein Island, and rich politicians. The left used to be right on the same side of on a lot of this stuff, but clearly not anymore.
What on earth is Mr. Darcy talking about? Now, someone needs to break it to the modern left. We did, at one point, have a shared culture. And year by year, decade by decade, they mocked it, they trashed it, and ultimately they destroyed it. And ever since, powerful interests have worked to supplant traditional American values, country, family, faith, with a radical sexual and political agenda. The principle of tolerance, just tolerate everybody, well, that gave way to forced acceptance. And in the process, what did they do? They ruined the news business. Walter Cronkite wanted to be trusted by everyone, remember? Well, then Dan Rather, he wanted to be known as an outspoken lefty. Well, they both got what they wanted. Eventually, an opening was created for Rush Limbaugh and for Fox News. Well, they ruined education, too. Test scores, they're plummeting across America. Standards are being lowered or even eliminated. The curricula, bastardized. This spawned the homeschooling phenomenon. Well, they did the same to film, theater, music, fashion. Years ago, in one of my books, I called it the pornification of the culture. Well, it's pornified and too often now politicized as well. And these performers, they just can't stop making fools of themselves.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
You know, when Donald
It's
Trump
the
spoke at his
crazy stuff they
inauguration
say.
about American carnage,
Again, I think it's really funny on the left because people like that will cheer for that. But then they go and do pretty much a guided tour in the Capitol, and they're like, it's the worst thing since 9/11. But she's talking about burning down the White House. And in 2020, they tried to burn down the White House. So, like, they're just so hypocritical. It's insane.
assumed that was something he was against, not a campaign promise.
The past 4 years have left us as a nation diminished and divided. We are better than this. America is better than this.
Oh, tell us about it. So a vacuum has been created, all right? At least half of the country doesn't listen to those fools. And they don't like what's happening to our kids, to our schools, and they certainly don't like what's happening in most of our popular culture. They don't trust Hollywood, they don't trust the news media, and they don't even trust most politicians, frankly, in either party. So what does this do? This opens the door to new voices in politics and new voices in the culture who want to create movements and, in this case, want to create music and then films, plays, and even businesses for the underserved. And as for the consumers, what do? Well, they boycott woke nonsense at places like Target, Bud Light, or they support outsider films like The Sound of Freedom or musicians like Oliver Anthony. That's their own form of protest. So are liberals really so clueless that they...
I mean, kind of. It's a form of protest, I suppose. It's what people like, you know? So I'm like, it is a form of protest. I mean, the Bud Light thing in Target, that's a form of protest. But if you like Sound of Freedom or like Oliver Anthony, you know, it's good art. So, yeah.
didn't already know that the culture was splintered and that they did it? Now, I remember when they were urging a boycott of their own, of Chick-fil-A, because the CEO gave money to Christian charities.
Yeah, and then what I think is funny is now the CEO of Chick-fil-A is on stage saying if you see a black guy, you should go shine his shoes and give him a hug and stuff. So even that guy, he bowed down to the protest apparently. It's like, what if the guy's a weirdo?
But we Christians or other traditional Americans, what are we supposed to do? Shovel our money to people who obviously despise us? We're not supposed to try to create alternative entertainment, business, news channels? Oh, I get it. Sorry. They're the only ones entitled to protest and create. Oh, it was great when they were the only ones, right? Challenging the old guard back in the 60s and the 70s with their films and with their music. But when Oliver Anthony, guy nobody's heard of, strikes a chord with his song, it's seen as a threat. Well, newsflash to the elites. Long before Oliver Anthony, country music embodied the independent, kind of kick-ass American spirit, the working class, the forgotten man, and a simpler way of life. Jason Aldean's Try That in a Small Town is reminiscent of Hank Williams Jr.'s classic.
I got a shotgun, a rifle, and a four-wheel drive, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive.
And then it was back in 1974 that Johnny Cash released Ragged Old Flag. That was a patriotic ode. But liberals say that they're triggered today when they see too many American flags. Athletes made millions after refusing to stand for the anthem. So yeah, there are a lot of people out there who love the country and they're ticked off and they want their own space. But they're not going to find it at Disney. They couldn't do a live remake of Snow White at Disney without turning it political.
The original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There is a big focus on her love story.
This woman drives me nuts.
With a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird.
The fact that she's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's the proactive one, and she's the one who set the terms, is what makes it so relevant to where we are today.
Yeah, that's not weird, though. The women always win. Star Wars, all the guys are idiots. The women know everything. I'm not saying women are like don't know stuff or anything, but like, why is it always in these movies? Always the woman. Always the woman. Always the woman. It's so woke. It's outrageous.
Relevant. Where we are today is that Disney is relegated to making live-action remakes of their most storied animated films.
Yeah, and their parks are just going downhill. No one's visiting them. No one's watching their movies. All their stuff is just boring, and it's just the same woke nonsense. Yeah, Disney's relevance is falling super fast.
And turning them into tedious spectacles starring bubblehead actors and actresses who parrot liberal tropes. And, of course, directed by liberal dolts who think they're more talented than Walt Disney himself.
Yeah.
Now, let's see which the audience likes better. The original that Ms. Ziegler claims is so terrifying and outdated, or the 2024 version oozing with female empowerment. So look, you can have a common culture, or you can have a alienating left-wing propaganda machine, but you cannot have both. And that's the angle.
Yeah, that's the thing. They just want to have their view of the world and their culture, their view of culture. They want that to be universal. That's the thing she's missing, right? It's like they want all this. They want everyone to be woke. They just want everyone to fall in line. And to be fair to them, why they're probably so shocked is for the longest time, the right has done that. I'm really happy that now with Bud Light, Target, Disney falling down and everything, now the right's actually starting to push back. Again, for the longest time, people would just keep watching their movies, would keep drinking their beer. They have these weird commercials. They wouldn't even say anything. It's just, it's gotten so in your face. I think with like BLM and the sports and everything, I think people got just sick of it. It's like, at least leave sports alone. And now sports is there, Bud Light is there. Everyone's just like, oh, just please, can we just swing the pendulum back some? But now it's swinging really far back because, like she's saying, like the culture on that side is so far away from what the right believes, but then the right would compromise so much. But now they're like, well, I'm done compromising. I'm not going to compromise at all on anything. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think the right has moved to the left on social issues, and for a lot of things, that's really good. It's just when you're having it thrown in your face, it gets so annoying. It's just thrown in your face, thrown in like this Ziegler woman. No, you can't have true love. A guy can't rescue you. No, the women have to be the leaders. That's who. Yeah. Women, screw men. I don't want to do anything with the guy. It's weird. He wants to. Oh, he's courting. Oh, weird. That's just weird. He goes and saves her life. Oh, no, that's weird. No, the women they can do it themselves. You know, all the 1937. That's all just old and outdated, and we shouldn't have couples anymore unless the woman's in charge. It's like, that's what they think. It's like, can't we just go back to some form of traditionalism? Yeah, women should have power, and if they want to like have a job and have their own goals, you know, okay, awesome. But why is it okay? Women should reign supreme over guys and all that, like the new Barbie movie. You know, the women control everything. The guys don't get to say anything. It's like, it's so backwards compared to what the left actually claims. They say they want equality, but no, they don't. There's been equality for a very long time, and now instead they're just like, no, women should be better. And you just can't have. Normal people don't believe this stuff, you know? Most people are for equality, but when you have the woke left running everything and pushing it on people, it just eventually just gets too much. And people are just like, no, I'm just done. We'll just go make our own stuff. This has been too long. They keep pushing further and further and further to the left. It has to just get like that Barbie movie. It's just more and more and more and more. It just never ends. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe for daily news updates, smash that like button, share this video with your friends, and share your thoughts on the story in the comments below. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.